Good evening and welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the SRA Grid Report. It is bright, but it's also dark, as you can see from the picture behind us. A nighttime Imola race that was very exciting has passed, and we're here to tell you everything about it. I'm Josh, and with me, as always, Mr. Bailey Kish. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm fantastic, but as you know, traditions, we're getting primed up. You know how it
Attaboy.
is.
No,
You know how it is.
no pink tonight. What's the mood? What made you go
Uh, ra-
blue?
ran out of pink,
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Gotta do
so
what you gotta
it's
do.
gonna be blue tonight.
Yeah,
Blue for Red Bull.
there you go. Well, as you said, Formula One influence, and we both got our caps on tonight, repping the boys. My Seb hat, gotta love it. Gracious to get this in his last year running, but is what it is.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. I saw one tweet earlier saying, "Your racer saves the bees, my racer saved the championship." I don't know what Max did to save the championship, but save the bees.
Oh, wow, that's so bright, but we'll move on. We'll deal with
We shall deal with it.
it.
So yeah, we're gonna go over everything that was that wonderful night race and evening qualifying at Imola, which actually turned out to be a lot more fun than it was scary by the time we got into it. We're gonna take a look ahead to Monza this week, the other Italian track. Sadly, no Mugello in this game, or else that would be awesome.
hmm
And everything that's getting kicked off with 2023 for SRA. We've got the return of multi-class mayhem starting tonight that we're recording on Friday. We've got the first of our endurance events that's coming up for the season. We got the 3 hours of Barcelona on Saturday, as well as some cool other championships going on. The Moza Endurance Championship that we've got a lot of SRA teams joining in on. I believe Bailey's one of them.
Yes, sir.
And to tail it off, we'll take a look at everything F1 that we missed last week and the cool upgrades we saw coming into Barcelona now that it's sunny and bright and cars can actually drive. So let's start off with Imola. Taking a look over here at the track map. 19 corners, 4.9 kilometers. This track is it's a doozy no matter what car you drive in,
A doozy, but I would say equally entertaining.
no doubt. It's a track that doesn't really give you any opportunity for breaks, even though you do have that big long straight. I kind of find it similar to the quote unquote back straight at Spa, towards the bus stop chicane. It's like it may be somewhat straight, but it's a curve, and you still have to
Yeah.
hit that straight line. So you got to be focused.
hmm
But
And prepared for anything to jump out in front of you, because there are two blind corners technically.
e-
So
exactly. That combined with the necessary balance of using the sausage curbs and avoiding death makes for a pretty interesting racetrack when you turn the lights off.
yeah, and was just from the race I saw and participated in, the ability to following cars and the blindness of these uh, brake markers. Because I talked about this with Mike and Cody in our race on D5 about how far off the track these brake markers are and how difficult it might be. Say you're going side by side through a corner and you got the inside corner, but the brake markers on the outside. You're going to have that issue of seeing that brake marker, and the guy on the outside is going to have the better vision and probably the better line too. So that was also a major difficulty that we saw racing. So
hmm it was a track that really forced you to nail in your muscle memory on where corners are and how far away things are, but between corners, those breaking points, like you said, how hard it is to see the references when you're at a compromised line or even just being in the dark. But Aqua Minerale, everyone's favorite corner to name, but no one's favorite corner to take, proved to be a lot of fun. I know myself, I got extremely out of sorts in qualifying, hitting the inside curb, which sent me straight to the left into the walls. So that was one portion of the racetrack that everyone really focused on. And the chicane or shit cane that comes up right after turn 14, 15, otherwise known as Variante Alta.
are you
Very
Italian?
a little bit.
Oh, pretty
Few.
fluid.
Thank you. Very key places of the racetrack to get right, and very important for lap time too.
Yeah, a lot of I felt that in the Merc with it being such a curb muncher compared to the Ferrari. Found a lot of time improvement compared to other cars there, so I definitely had to make the most of it. I'm sure those BMW guys felt the same. Anybody in the Bentley, so I'm not sure how it was for you, but the Ferraris I saw tried to take the safest line through there just because of how unsettling it was.
Um, I do not encourage anyone to do what I do in the race. I just every lap is a quali line, so we just hope for the best and take the curbs. But I mean, if I was to try and lay it out, it was a little bit of the first one and a lot of bit of the second one.
Yeah. See, I
So
was opposite.
fair enough. And that's the
So,
thing I noticed following front engine cars like the Aston Martin. They were able to
hmm
eat a lot more of the first corner, have a
yeah.
straight line in, carry so much more speed, and then just check up a little bit, take the left hander, and you may close a little bit on the straightaway, but they've still gained a couple tenths on you.
Yeah, for sure. And the toe also played the straight was just long enough to if you were within 3, 4 tenths that this toe could bring you alongside going into what is technically turn two
Yeah, it's
as well. So,
turn one in our hearts, turn two on the map. But as George Russell and Valtteri Bottas found out the hard way a couple of years ago, even though it's not really a corner, you still gotta, you know, move to the left a little bit.
yeah, leave a disk space all the time.
Gotta leave it a space, always the space. So now that we've taken a look at the track, let's look at some of these standings. Starting off with Division 8, Jeremy Yaron takes pole position in his Porsche 992 with a 144.1. Y Boy Blue comes in second with a 144.167, and Rob Moorhead in third with a 144.7. So a much closer qualifying than we saw last week. In the race, Jeremy did hold on to the win. Aston Martin Lawrence, shout out Champion Motorsports, found his way up into second place with his 720S. And if I'm not mistaken, that's not the upgraded version of the 720S either. That's
No,
not
it
the
is not.
Evo. Simon Barnes found himself in third place, Kyle Cumber up into fourth, and Mike Enriquez up into fifth. So great job from all of those guys. We have hit that midpoint in the season now, so drop races are starting to matter. The championship positions are actually starting to mean something. So these next four races are really going to be interesting in Division 8. And I think just seeing the qualifying times get closer and just the overall race paces, we can
hmm
see the kind of effort, not effort, but the severity at which these guys are taking the championship.
Yeah, and just kind of looking over at the championship sheet, the top two currently are tied, and then P3 is 4 points behind them. So there's still so much to race for down there in D8.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part about the lower divisions is like it's all up for grabs almost all season long. So
Absolutely.
really
And
makes
to
it a fun
be
championship.
halfway through the season and the top two are tied on points is quite outstanding.
That's really cool. I look forward to hopefully having a Max and Lewis coming into the last race tied. Just maybe no dramatics in the last race. We don't need another Colin Gate, even though he is
Yeah.
back. We can talk about that when we get to D2.
Yeah. All
Division
right.
7. Matthew Enriquez takes pole position with a 143.1. Dan Meyer comes home in second with his Lamborghini. Sorry, Matthew was driving the Ferrari with a 143.6, so half a second clear. And then Christian Maurice comes home in third with his 992, 143.717. So all of the big three, I guess you could call them, up on the podium there for
Yeah.
qualifying. But in the race, the car that I think a lot of people slept on this season, but actually is proving to be really competitive, is the M4. Matt Anderson came home to take the win, 5 seconds clear of Dan Meyer's Lamborghini. Brandon Rattler came home in third in the Ferrari. Christian Maurice in fourth with his 992, and Connor Farrell in fifth with his 296.
Yeah, you say you talk about this BMW, but I don't we don't see it more towards the top half of the divisions, I feel.
I think it's people at the top are not like they really want to follow the meta, but
hmm
when a car is faster and you're trying to be a sweat, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by not taking the car that everybody else thinks is the fastest car,
Yeah.
which I think is why we end up with things like 50% of the grid taking the 296.
hmm Well,
So,
and I kept saying that this BOP is gonna hit quick. This BOP is gonna come sooner than everybody thinks, and because I fell into the trap with the Audi, and I got so attached, and then boom, the GTR was better.
yeah, it's
Not
it's
really,
just
but
I get what you mean. It drove better over the season, the Audi got hit harder.
Yeah,
It it makes sense. Like sometimes you just gotta go with your gut and go with the car that you like and hope the BOP helps you out down the road.
yeah.
And I'm sure the Aston Martin drivers and any of the front engine drivers are really feeling that as the season goes on.
I'm feeling myself in the Merc.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but I mean, I'll tell you what, I don't regret the decision going the Merc because I mean, I'd say I'm still competing pretty well.
Yeah, it's all about. Sometimes you got to take a season, and I don't know. This is how I look at it. Sometimes you got to take a season to not compete for the championship, but to compete for improving your driving. And it's like sometimes you put yourself in a little bit of a harder car, and
Yeah.
push to improve your pace. And it's like, okay, well, I found more pace. I found that in. I found out how to gain control over this difficult car and race
Hmm.
people all season. And then boom, you hop back to your favorite car, and you're like half a second faster than you were.
Yeah. Well, and
So
that's the thing is, I went from the Porsche last season, which was an absolute nightmare, and then I went to the opposite of the Merc, and it's been interesting to get grips on just the switch of the way they handle and drive and 1.9 combination. So
Big Bailey's over there juggling. So
yeah,
we're
just trying
all
to compete, brother.
we're all impressed to see you drive and juggle at the same time.
Yeah, with my eyes closed,
Exactly. On a unicycle.
with my hands tied behind my back.
All right, now we're getting ahead of ourselves. Division number 6. John Santoro takes pole position with the 296, a 142.335. Curtis Lee comes home in second with a 992, 142.625, and Marty Spacebaker in third with his 296, 142.740. As we got to the race,
I believe that's two in a row for Curtis Lee. I'm
two
getting a little headed. A
two in a
little
row
ahead.
wins.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that information, but Curtis brings home his second win in a row in the 992, and he does so 12 seconds clear of Marty Spacebaker in second. Durban Legacy finds himself up onto the podium in third, Henry Garcia in fourth, and Justin McKechnie in fifth. Now, before we keep going, have penalties come out?
I don't see any.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Stewards!
Let me get a quick DM to see if they're gonna come out anytime soon.
Speak it into the void. We talked about the 4 week off season and we got it. So penalties out before Friday, please.
Please, por favor,
Poor favor.
por favor.
I know there are a lot of people that dedicate their time to this, and sometimes there are those tickets that take. Maybe we want to get more opinions on this. It's really a back and forth kind of middle ground on whether it should or shouldn't. Is it a level 1, level 2?
Hmm.
So it's all about trying to make the right decision. But then,
Yeah.
the longer it takes, then you're doing appeals on Monday.
Then we're sitting here looking like idiots because we're saying not the real results, and
That's okay.
yeah,
We talk about what happened in the race.
exactly.
But yeah, 3 Ferraris in the top 5 for Division 6. But still pretty decently spread apart. I mean, 3, 4, 5 were actually kind of close. 1 second
1 second, three
between 3 and
seconds.
4, and yeah, 3 seconds between fourth and fifth. All of them had relatively close race pace. Fourth place was actually the fastest. Henry with a 1:43.0 was the fastest out of the three of them. Actually, no, fastest out of the top 4 of the top 5. Curtis with a 1:42.9 was on a different level.
Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
I'm like, does he not see it? Does he not see it?
it's the way this document reshapes the grid because it's not one full number, it's like 2 lines.
Hmm.
I don't know, skill issues, so.
Yeah, yeah, yes. That's usually the answer.
Exactly. Exactly. Moving on up to division number 5, Ian Byron takes pole position with his Huracan Evo 2, a 141.680. 3 tenths clear of second, Christian Lorenzo in the 296, a 141.917. And Martin Riggs in third with the 720S Evo, a 141.980. So only 7 hundredths, or 63 hundredths if you really want to, or 63 thousandths if you want to be really specific. But very close qualifying. Christian Lorenzo did come home to take the win. Rodney Felker finished in second place, 11 seconds behind Christian. Martin Riggs in third, DJ Watts in fourth, and Ian Byron in fifth place. So I wonder if there was some pit shakeups or maybe some battling because second place, 34.6 seconds is the end of the timer. Martin Riggs, 35.7. DJ Watts, 38.6. Ian Byron, 39.2. So they were pretty close to each other, I'm assuming, at the end of that race.
Yeah. So actually, ironically, the top three in qualifying, I think, were about half a second clear from the rest of the field.
Wow.
um, in qualifying. So those three were by far the quickest. I mean, just looking at their quickest race lap time. I mean, 42.9 from Lorenzo, 42.7 from Riggs, and 42.5 from Byron. But the reason why Lorenzo is so far ahead, Martin Riggs was actually flying the entire race. Was behind Christian for about 25 minutes, and what we talked about earlier was the difficulty in following people and the braking zones just approaching you so much quicker when you can't see anything.
Hmm.
That's what Martin was struggling with. He just couldn't set himself up for a lunge or an overtake, and um, ended up not getting by Christian quick enough. And Ian came back at Martin, and they both collided and lost that time to Christian. So those two were playing catch up the rest of the race, and Martin had P2 locked down until he pit. He pit on the very last lap and ended up losing about 1.5 seconds to blue flags on the lap, which ended up
Oof.
letting Rodney Felker take P2 when he came out of the pit. So Martin was trying to chase him down for the last lap or two. So just couldn't do it. But yeah, it was a very entertaining race to watch. As we were mostly watching lap times with the 55-minute pit window, but a lot of good battles going on. A lot of final podium spots going on that was happening. Ian Byron was trying to do his best, pit early and make up what he could, but just wasn't enough.
It's one thing I've started to notice in some of these divisions. I'm wondering if you saw the same in D5. Is that now that we've got this 55-minute pit window, it's like half the grid pits in the first 5 minutes, and the rest pit in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I
There's
have
no in
noticed that.
between.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple guys pit at the middle if they want to like split fuel or something.
hmm I have noticed that, but I like the rain race, especially for us in particular, that there was a lot of people that pit on the first lap.
Yep. A lot of people just
So
saying, "Get me some no spray,"
yeah,
and I think
so
that worked out. Just thinking back to the wet race, so
mhm,
some tracks it's worth it, but I don't know. In the dark, I felt that even if I was getting directly up onto somebody, I'd rather drop like 2/10 back and have a reference until I can make a move than
mhm,
drive in complete darkness.
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's just a mentality thing, but I feel that I can't push as hard because I'm searching for the corner, I guess you could say.
yeah. Well, and, from my perspective, what I kind of noticed was, so I mean, like I was out of position in qualifying. I didn't have a good qualifying, so I mean, everybody I ended up approaching ended up pitting, and so I was able to overcut them. I pit on the very last lap, led my second lap of the season. I was
Nice.
P1 for a little
Attaboy.
bit, but
Well done.
yeah, I saw a lot of people. I mean, if they knew somebody was quicker than them behind them, they would pit. But I fortunately had a fellow conglomerate mate, guy, man, person behind me, just holding everybody up and letting me go. So
Attaboy.
yeah, I just needed one more lap, and I would have had Ian. I would have had him one more lap.
One more lap.
Yeah,
And funny enough, just a quick jump ahead, that's going to be an interesting story. I don't know if you've heard about Ian's race, but that
yeah.
was
He DM'd me after.
that was quite the drive.
I agree. We'll
But
talk about that when we get there.
D5, what a great battle, and
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a shame when something like that happens, and that's I guess where I was trying to take that pit window point is that it's really a gamble. Like you have more manipulation over how much time you lose in the pit stop because you have more laps to make it up over the race before you pit. But
hmm
if you pit and you're in blue flags, you're pretty much screwed.
Absolutely.
So it's I don't know. I feel like we may see more experimentation with the middle of the window as we get through the races because I'm sure that's starting to aggravate some people.
Yeah. Well, what have you usually done? So we've done 4 races. What would you say your majority strat was?
I've gone all over the map actually.
Oh, okay.
I very first 55-minute window we did, I did right in the middle. just
Hmm.
didn't think about it, and I'm like, when I feel like I need to pit, and I came out of my pit stop lap later. He told me we're at the halfway mark of the race, so I'm like,
Are you
okay,
talking about the first time we did it last season?
yeah, the very first time we did
Oh,
55.
okay.
That's furthest back I can remember, and then this season I did early, late, early, and I think I pitted late here. I pitted No, I pitted early. I pitted like 7 laps in, so I guess that would be like 15, 20 minutes into the race. So
Probably, yeah. I think you're right.
I started getting into a bunch of battling though.
Yeah,
So wanted to save the tires a bit.
yeah. I so far this season I've done last lap, first lap, last lap, and just off of those four, I've done better by pitting on the last lap.
Fair enough.
So I think I'm gonna stick to that strat because I think pitting first lap I'm 0 for 2 on. So,
The one
and
th-
I don't even remember last season.
the one thing that's kind of key, and I think what has kept me away from pitting super early, like right at the start of the window, because I think the earliest I've done is the second lap of the window.
Hmm. I
Is
mean
just
that's the earliest it'll open. I think on
no
every track.
the second lap of the window.
Oh, of the pit. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
got it.
Second opportunity to come in, but the pack is so close together that there's too much of an opportunity to make up track position.
Yeah.
Like even just getting ahead of two people in a cluster, it's like
Hmm.
that's by the time they fight themselves out if you pit early, or like pit that second lap in, that's an extra 5, 6 seconds to play with.
Yeah.
But you've made up that ground rather than still trying to chase it and hope
Hmm.
that they fight.
Well, and then the thing about pitting early as well is there's a lot of people with the same strategy that if they come out in front of you, then and you're a little bit quicker than them, you're not really gaining anything if you're having a battle to get past them to make up that time. That's the thing. So, I think the mistake I made from pitting on the first lap was I didn't look to see how many people were pitting and where I was pitting in relation to those people. So
Mhm.
I think if I waited a second or two longer to see just wow, that's a lot of people pitting. This may not be the right move. Then instead of committing, I think the what you did was pitting second lap or third lap perhaps in the pit window where you kind of have an established um,
Group
lineup.
around you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and kind of see where the early pace is. So
Yeah. And I guess that's about as far as strategy really goes for us in the pit window thing. Unfortunately, we
yeah,
don't have race direct or not race directors, but like chiefs in our ear telling us about gaps to this guy when this guy's pitting, that guy's pitting. So it's pretty much just you almost gotta wait if you want to have any frame of actual reference on where you're coming out in the pits.
yeah, I agree.
So Division 4. Corey Sircone takes pole position in the 296, a 141.6. Getting closer to some D2 times up here. Max Diggs in the 992, a 41.7. And Dawson Tremling in the Aston Martin, a 41.795. So 400ths behind Max. He had a
Jeez,
7.55.
yeah,
And just 1 point or 0.14 to Corey up front. So very close qualifying for them. Trend of the night, Max Diggs, the second place driver, comes home to take the win. Corey Sircone falls to second place and finished 8 seconds behind Max, so they very well could have been battling for most of the race, or at least early on. Dawson Tremling held on to third in the Aston, 8 seconds back from Corey. Scott Smith in fourth with the 720S Evo, and Stephen Smalley in fifth with the 296.
what's crazy about that is Scott Smith was D5 at the beginning of the season.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's uh,
and
that's pretty awesome.
and just talking to those guys in D4, we see a couple of Ghost Rider boys up there, Scott Smith, Stephen Smalley. They're saying to be competitive, to be top 10 in D4, you have to be putting in D2 times.
Wow.
That's the general consensus in D4 right now.
That's I mean it's crazy, but that's just kind of the competitive level we're at right now.
It
And
is. Well, and we've talked about Stephen Smalley before about how he was in D2 last season
yep,
and the season before that. So, I mean, he's an example of just how quick you have to be anywhere near the top of Division 4, let alone Division 2.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm just gonna go take a look. That 41.6 in the D2 qualifying. Do 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 do. It would have been 13th,
I think
but
he would have beaten me. Yeah, he would have beaten me.
we also did have one, two, three, four, five drivers all within the 141.5. So, still
Yeah,
very fast pace down there in D4, and their race
for
pace
sure.
wasn't slouching either. 42.5s, 42.7s, 42.6s. Like that's where I was floating for most of the race.
Yeah, I was sitting around 42.4 to 42.3, I think it was. Something like that.
It's a different battle trying to drive Imola with full weight.
Absolutely. And
Like,
in the dark.
yeah,
Oof,
that's
bad combo.
just throw everything out the window.
Yeah,
Now
you're better off closing your eyes.
imagine we had last season's finale here instead of Silverstone. Night wet at Imola.
Oh,
We would have had like a
um,
5 car attendance. It would have been the Indiana or what was it, Indy Grand Prix where it was only like 6 cars on the grid. The U.S. Grand Prix back in the day.
I don't remember that.
It was some big protest and only like 6 drivers ended up going. Six-man
That's
Grand
big
Prix.
points.
Yeah, big points. I think it was part of the tire war. They were having
Oh,
tires
okay.
blow up on the oval.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But before I get lost in facts that I only know a crumb about,
He's getting lost in the sauce.
you got it. Division 3 has a pole time that would be right up there with the top of Division 2. Henry
It would
Luxtosa.
be the top.
Would it?
Oh no, hold on.
I think we had a 40.7. But Henrique Lustosa in the 992 puts down a 40.8 in D3.
No, that would be pull. 40.9 was pull in D2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great lap there from Henrique, putting himself just about 5/10ths clear of Max Simmons in second place in the AMG, represent for the Merc boys, with a 41.39, and Jason Allen in third with the Lambo Huracan Evo 2 of 41.6. Henrique did hold on to that win, 10 seconds clear of Max Simmons. And I think the race pace shows why a 41.797. That's uh
Yeah.
that's pretty quick. I mean,
Very quick.
like I don't know, man. I was struggling to get to low 42s in race trim, but it would be like the first couple laps of the stint, and then I wouldn't be able
Dude,
to
that's
repeat it. I'd have to cool lap for a little bit.
41.7 was my quality time.
Yeah, like
That's unreal.
very well done. Max Simmons, like I said, in second place, 10 seconds behind. Dan Rebel in third place, 1 second behind Max. Brian Ryder in fourth, and Doug Mitchell in fifth place. What happened, boss?
Uh, I'll tell you what happened, boss, is
What happened?
this guy walks in to this race, joins VC 15 minutes before the race and says, "All right, time to get some practice. I've done about an hour total this week." And I think he's been waiting to get moved down to D3 so he can start winning some stuff. So I think D5 for him, I think he was extremely pleasant with.
Yeah. P5 with no practice is still pretty good. I mean,
I
race
agree.
pace wasn't that horrible, 42.8. And even though he was 18 seconds behind Brian, I mean, like you said, fifth is still fifth. They don't ask you how, they
Oh,
ask how many.
exactly.
So, well done to everybody in D3 who's hoping to chase themselves into a D2 spot.
I don't know. I hear a lot of people saying they don't want to go to D2s.
I know.
So
I'm over here contemplating D3, but we'll stick with D2 silver for now.
ego, ego,
Exactly.
ego.
I gotta hit 8 seasons.
8 seasons.
Got
Uh,
moving to our division, Division 2. JD Daniel takes pole position in the Aston, a 140.952. Caleb Yarrington in second with a 141.072, also in the Aston. And Landon Dreves in third in the 296, a 141.1. very speedy times. I remember when I first
Very.
started getting my quality practice in, I was like, oh, low 42s, cool. And then I look at the board and I'm like, these guys are doing 40s. I'm toast.
Oh boy.
But that's okay. I found some pace on race day. It was ridiculous. I went and did
Yeah.
one. I was practicing with John Crown's setup, and I was chatting with Chris Holmes, and he said, "Oh, he posted an updated version. Did you try it?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm still using the old one." I tried the updated one. On my first lap, I was 6 tenths faster. I had a 41.3. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Definitely using that, and
I also did my PB in that same session too, so
hell yeah, it was really grippy. I don't know what
yeah.
it was, but it was really grippy in that session.
Yeah.
So we'll take it after what we got dealt last week. In the race, JD Daniel held on to the win, 9 seconds clear of Caleb. Victor Diaz came home in third place, 1 second back from Caleb. Michael Louis in fourth, and Herman Valencia in fifth. All these guys really close race pace. Caleb actually having the fastest of the top five of 41.835.
Yeah, I was actually in VC with Caleb
Yep.
when the whole race actually, and he actually pulled the lead on lap one from JD Daniel. And I think it was like lap 4 or 5 or something like that. It was the uh sausage at Shitcane, I think it was, and just took too much and went wide, and then JD Daniel took it back, and I think Caleb hit like halfway through the race as well. So
Gotcha. So definitely a
yeah,
variance to the strategy there. I mean, D2 had a lot of early pitters.
yes.
I think there was like six left at the by the time we got to the 10-minute mark who hadn't pitted.
I mean, I started 19th and I was fifth for probably a good 25 minutes just because people pit so early and there were so many of them.
Yeah, and someone who took no no qualifying whatsoever, Ian Wheeler, as we brought up earlier, he was messaging the chat at like 7:50. He's like, or 8:50. He's like, boys, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm
Oh
still on my
boy.
way home from work. There's an immense amount of traffic. I don't think I'm gonna make it home for the race. And then we're in qualifying, and there's 3 minutes left in gold quali, and we just hear, "What lap was it?" We're like, "Oh, Ian, we're still in quali. Get in here." Starts in the back of the grid, and he finished what, ninth?
P9, yeah.
Like, what an insane
Little
drive!
scumbag, dude.
And he had insane pace.
He
He
did. He was catching me rapidly.
he was doing low 41 or mid 41s.
Well, that's the thing is he had gotten past Guy Manperson, my buddy, a conglomerate mate there,
Yep.
and we were doing. He got out past Guy, and we were doing like 42 fours together, 42 fives, 42 threes, and then all of a sudden he goes 42-0, 42-0, 42-0. I'm like, what is happening? I just kept watching his lap times. They just kept going down and down, and I'm still doing 42 fours, and I'm like, he's he's coming, and then he pits as he gets to like 1.2 seconds behind me,
Yep.
and then I come out of the pits on the second to last lap, and he has me. He gets out by like, oh no, I'm ahead of him is what happened, and then I was side by side with I forgot who it was, Looper maybe, and uh, I had to I had to go past. I had to skip the first turn 2 3 because he missed the brake marker and spun right on the apex, so there was nowhere I could go, and that's how Ian got past me.
Funny enough, that was my strategy call. he was like,
What was?
he was like, "What do I do here? I'm coming up on Bailey." I'm like, "Pit as soon as you get behind him." He's like, "Okay."
He did, yeah,
Gets up
he
close,
did.
pits, and it's like, I'm like, either that or go hang out in his mirrors and be a bother.
Which he would have too.
Yeah. I'm like,
Hmm.
I told him, I'm like, you don't gotta push him too hard.
Yeah. So,
Just
but
just
then
flash him a
that's
couple times.
That's how he got past me, but I caught up to him on that same lap. And well, as you see in the background here, this is the final lap. And me on the outside, and he pulled an excellent defensive move on me and messaged me right after that and apologized for that. I'm like, what are you apologizing for? He's like, sorry for that dirty move into turn two when you were trying to take the outside. I was trying to give you as much room as possible, ended up eating the curb there. I was like, you didn't do anything wrong. It was you played defense. It was a great move.
Ian's just a really wholesome guy.
Yeah, he
Very
really is, and
very good racer as well.
yeah, we got together last race, unfortunately, but I mean, it was the difficulty of the track and the overtaking. So I wasn't upset about it, and he came off a little worse than I did. But this week we had a better encounter this week, and it was fun. So I do like racing Ian.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers, and the number is always increasing. It seems to always be increasing. That it's like I can put them down in my book as someone who I will race beside anytime.
Yeah.
If names that come off the top of my head, Evan Kim,
Oh, I agree.
like
Evan's a lot of fun.
a lot of fun, very
Yeah.
respectful driver, but will push you,
Hmm.
and it's great. It's great to
Yeah.
have that.
Well, and I forgot who I was telling, but I can't remember. But I've noticed lately in these last few races that I feel like this season's been one of the cleanest seasons that Division Two's had.
Yeah, I feel a couple, maybe a season and a half of getting called the sweat division
Yeah.
really checked us up and made us, you know, push up the tie a little bit,
Yeah.
button up the suit.
I mean, we've had to set the standard with the D1 shenanigans going on up there.
Yeah,
So
thankfully none of
we
that this week.
exactly. So I mean, we had one bad. I think it was one bad week. We had a big lap one accident, maybe.
Watkins. Oh, for us,
Yeah, for D2. I can't remember.
it might have been last season.
It might have been because that's the thing is I was talking to Taylor and I said, I qualify so shit, and everybody on Tuesday, a lot of the divisions are getting all these lap one accidents. So I sit there in qualifying. I get a little disappointed because I'm like, all right, shit's gonna hit the fan. We're gonna get chaos. I'm gonna gain a bunch of positions, and then end of lap one, I'm in the same spot I started. I'm like, what the fuck? Where was this last season?
Yeah,
What is happening? And I get so upset. I'm like, well, this isn't gonna be as easy as I thought.
you know what they say, Bailey. Be the change you want to see. Go out there and
Ex-
cause chaos.
exactly. No, I'm all for this clean racing. I'm gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, jokes aside, it's awesome to see when
It
it's
is.
not just Division 1. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
expected of them, and
Hmm.
accidents will happen, things happen. Like as everyone's come to understand from that Watkins accident, that was just poor timing and people behind can't see, and it's like it's not a lack of skill that caused a 22 driver pile up. But yeah,
Yep.
it's great to see that the other 250 drivers are starting to follow suit as well.
Exactly. Just let those guys up top would do whatever they're doing.
Exactly. They can have all the fun.
Exactly.
But up to Division 1, Matt Lehman, pole position with a 40.500 in the 720S Evo. Jeremy Mercer in second in the Huracan Evo, a 140.540, and Nate Specht in third in the 720S Evo with a 140.577. And
Jeez.
Nate's time from qualifying stood up there for a long time. And
Because he was
then
silver, wasn't he?
he is silver, that's correct.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy and Matt just went up there and said, "We're just gonna squeeze right by you there, bud. Just gonna sneak on by, take pole."
Nabbed it. 700ths of a second.
Yep.
Not
And
bad.
in the race, Matt did hold on to the win. Mr. Sir had a stellar drive from about the middle of the pack up towards the front. Had some really good race pace the whole time. Made some clean overtakes. Ed Kerstetter came home in third place. Jeremy Mercer fell to fourth, and Travis Nordstrom in fifth. Nate unfortunately was involved in, believe, a lap one accident at turn four. Yeah, turn 4-5 chicane, and
Mm,
just sent him off. I don't remember if he hit the wall, but just lost a lot of ground. Had to pit. I believe he took a penalty afterwards as well, either a drive through or a stop go.
jeez.
But just the track was not being his friend. It was a shame to see who both myself and I think it was Paule picked as
Hmm.
our no like no second guess silver winner for the night. Like the Evos, those 720 Evos, they're quick,
You
especially
wouldn't
when they're
believe, dude.
in the hands of a talented driver. And like Matt Lehman and Nate Speck, two drivers who love the McLaren,
Yeah.
like it should be done, wrapped up. But things happen, accidents happen.
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if you've actually used that McLaren yet. I
I
mean, we
have
talked
not.
about it last week, but just another example of I did a bunch of weekend sprints this weekend
Yep.
in the McLaren. Did a little bit of got a little animal practice as well. Um, one session, I qualified with a 41.0, I think it was. Ended up doing like 41.5, 41.6 race pace.
Wow.
It's such a game changer. This car is like, I don't know. I feel like it's not talked about as much as it should be at the moment.
I don't think so. And I think it's because not enough people are getting to exploit it. But
Yeah,
as
I
we get
agree.
as we get towards the end of the season and people start to tune out of season 7 and towards season 8,
Hmm.
it's going to be a Ayo, where
Yeah.
was this car
Where
gone?
was this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been here the whole time.
Yeah. And just like another talk, a little, I'll touch on it real quick because we talked about last week. But I've just been kind of doing watching some videos, and a lot of people on YouTube are saying that it's the same car as the original McLaren, but just uh, a different front wing and rear wing as well, or I guess it's front splitter. I guess because the old McLaren doesn't have one, so they're saying it's basically the same car, just new wings and splitter. But I feel like it's not the same car.
Yeah, I agree. I do not think it's the same car.
I think it's a little more intense. I think mid to late corner, it's a little wild, a little crazy. But in a straight line, dude, Monza.
Rocket.
What a segue! What a segue that was!
Exactly.
What a segue, Monza, dude. These all I've been seeing so far, where it's Friday, so we've had 2-3 days of practice, and all I hear is how OP this McLaren is in a straight line.
Yeah, and at a track that's nicknamed the Temple of Speed, that's somewhere where you really want to have all of that straight line. So it'll be interesting to see how far up the board those things get pushed and if we have all of them crammed at the top.
Yeah, when I mean this is the true test of just I mean we had the what was SRO was already there this season, weren't they?
Don't ask me.
Okay, I think it was SRO, but there was a esports event at Monza already right after 1.9 came out. Um, the results, the top 6 cars, guess take a guess what they were.
Uh, V12 Vantage, Ferrari Challenge. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea, man. Because I'm looking at our
The
board right now, and the top six is almost six different cars.
Yeah, uh, the SRO race results for Monza, the top 6 cars was the Mercedes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mercedes dominated Monza when they were at SRO event. It's got to be 3-4 weeks ago, maybe now.
Damn. I
It was
mean,
early.
we've had 17 updates since then, but
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel like 7 new cars too.
exactly.
Yeah. So unless something's changed, they've done a lot of BOP, so it could be the different. But the Mercs were the car to watch here at Monza. But I think it's going to be this McLaren.
Yeah, and even just looking at the boards, we've got a McLaren in third for Nate, a McLaren in seventh, and then the next one's in 21st, so I don't know. Fastest time right now is Eric Neville's Aston Martin with a 1:47.010.
Wow.
Javier Marquez right on his tail, though, in the 296 47.027.
Yeah, I think pros were doing 45.5 somehow.
So, what?
Yeah,
That's a second and a half clear.
that's what I'm saying. Everybody kept saying that they were
What are they
all
doing?
these pros.
Skipping the first chicane?
I was gonna say they must be just like grip hacks or something.
Yeah, skip all the chicanes. Do the
Yeah, I don't
old
know.
oval layout. That's what they're
It
doing.
doesn't make sense, but I kept seeing that people were saying that 45.5s, 45.6, 45.7, somewhere in that range. I'm like, how's that? How are they so far clear of us?
That's gotta be illegal.
I agree. Unless you're like running what the F1 Esports does, and the car is a faster build, and the engine, like the game engine's quicker. But I don't think they do that for
That
ACC.
that'd be wild.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, I agree. They try and model these cars like bang on.
Yeah.
So, but Monza 5.79 kilometers, 11 turns, and a lot more than just driving in a straight line. Um,
Yes.
no matter how many times I drive this track, it's always a struggle to find the turn one breaking point. I don't
The
know about you.
notorious turn one. Yeah, I feel like it always changes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's either always too early, too late. Then you'll get that one time where like, oh yes, nailed it, and then you'll go back around and it's too late or too early.
Yeah, it's a struggle for sure. And
Yeah.
just a slightly different turn 11 will change that entry speed to turn 1.
Yep.
Even if it's by a couple kilometers an hour, that could be 10 meters.
Hmm.
So, it's not been the most fun, even though it's probably one of the more basic tracks that we're racing on, I guess you could say. Basic in the sense that it's a couple chicanes, couple corners, straight lines.
Yes, a lot of straight lines, which means a lot of slipstream, a lot of toe, and lots of possibility of overtaking. There's always that chance of turn one chaos, lap one. Monza's very famous for that. I mean, in any game, in Formula One, ACC, Assetto Corsa, Automobilista, anything. It's always this track has always been an issue with turn one. So I'm expecting somewhere in some division some issue.
See, I'm less worried about turn 1, and I'm more worried about Ascari. 8, 9, 10. That section has done nothing but throw cars left, right, left, right.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
and these sausages too, not going to help much either.
no. And with the whole 1.9 update, everything's become a little bit less compliant, so to speak.
Hmm.
So, it'll be interesting to see where the pace levels out by the time we get up to race day. But any predictions on what the fastest laps will be? Like we're already down to the
Are
47 zeros
you talking about on the leaderboard or in
on the
qualifying?
leaderboards. You think we'll how far into the 46s do you think these guys are going to get?
Oh, let's see. Let's see who's up there currently setting the pace. Eric Neville, 47-0. Nate's backed up there, the 47-1. I'm not seeing Michael Menning anywhere. I'm going to guess a 46-5
Now I'm going to
by by Tuesday.
by Tuesday.
Yes.
All right.
I think the quickest time will be a 46-5
I could see that happening for sure.
because we do only have, I think it's 98 laps or not lap times put in so far. So a lot more people to still to test the waters, shall we say?
Yep. Test the waters. Thankfully no waters on this track and it's going to be a daytime race too. So, you know, take all the challenge out and just give you Monza,
Yeah,
which will be enough of a challenge on its own.
absolutely.
And as we step away from the GT3 and into the weekend, we kick things off with the first multi-class mayhem race of the season. Season 5 is back. GT3 and GT4 cars on the same track. 5 race championship. Tonight's race is Barcelona, 90 minutes. It's kind of a lead into that endurance tomorrow. And then we've got June 9th, Kyalami 90 minutes. June 16th, Nürburgring 90 minutes. June 23rd, Valencia, 2 45-minute sprints back to back. And Friday, June 30th, the finale, Spa, 3 hour solo endurance, double points. So that's a pretty cool way to end things off. I know I'm going to be missing the first round tonight, but I definitely intend to participate in the rest of them because that last one looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Starting off at 9 o'clock Eastern, as usual with all our events. One mandatory pit stop, 1 liter of fuel in the 90-minute enduros, 45-minute sprints, no mandatory pit stop, no mandatory pit in the 3 hour solo endurance either. So, going to be able to play your own strategy. 10-minute practice, 20-minute quali, 10 minutes per class. You know, pretty typical to our GT3 series. No limits on tire sets, refueling time is not fixed, full formation laps, and everybody gets one drop race. So that's going to be a pretty interesting championship. But Bailey, why don't you tell us about tomorrow's race, the 3 hours of Barcelona?
3 hours of Barcelona. We covered it a little bit last week. But yeah, starting 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be the start of the drivers briefing, but we probably won't see qualifying till 7:30, and then we get the half-hour qualifying. So around 8:05, maybe 8:10, if everything is on time, we'll see the start of the race for the 3 hour event. teams of 1 to 3 drivers. We're seeing a lot of solo drivers for this one. 3 hours isn't a super long endurance, so 3 hours is capable. As you've done an 8 hour, I've done a 6 hour solo, so 3 hours is pretty easy compared to what we have done in the past.
Yeah,
So, the only difference about this one, it's no regular endurance race. It is a multi-class endurance race. We have any GT3 car, any Cup car, any GT4 car, and the M2 class as well. This race will be split into 3 classes. It is the open class, which is the GT3 car, or any Cup car that you would like to try and challenge the GT3s. But if you're not trying to challenge GT3 cars, there is a Cup class as well. And then the GT4 class, and I believe M2s are with the GT4s. I'm not sure, but last I knew, the GT4s and M2s were together, but M2 might have his own class. Not sure how many people have chosen M2, but from what I've seen in the registration, there has been a lot of different classes picked, so it's not just going to be all GT3 this time. Um, Throwback to the Suzuka Big Grid that we had a few weeks ago when it was GT4s and GT3s. So, uh, going to have a quite exciting event. It's not going to be your ordinary 3 hours. It's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of battling, and you're going to have a lot of slow cars, a lot of overtaking to see. So, it's going to be an intense 3 hours. Um, Yep, we got no tire limits, and I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like. Hopefully, dry day. That'd be ideal.
I
So,
believe they did post that. Let me see. Weather report. We are starting at 1700 hours with a ambient temperature of 27 degrees, a track temperature of 33,
oh wow,
and a pretty low level of weather randomness and
love
a
that.
0 chance of rain, zero point 0.7 of cloud level. So those temperatures are shot into the system that ACC uses to create the servers, and then based on the region and the whole time of year that the race was run at, it goes, okay, so if this is the standard across all the tracks, what would that mean if Barcelona is, say, 2 points higher than Imola, for example? Okay, so it
Hmm.
should be a little bit warmer. It'll probably be up towards the top half of those temperatures.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure there's a server up that we could check, but yeah, dry and hot as we would
Love it.
expect. The
As in Barcelona, yeah,
exactly. And then we've also got the Moza Endurance Championship powered by Sim Racing GP. Tell us about that
we
one.
do, we do. That's an exciting one. Just recently has touched the waters here in SRA, but Coadrome and Martin Riggs once again getting their hands on another SGP event, which just happens to be, as Josh just said, the Moza Endurance Championship Series, powered by Sim Racing GP. The first event will be 6 hours of walk-ins on Sunday. Um, Super exciting. SRA is running 4 teams. Um, just a quick overview of this event as I go over here to Koa's post. Um, it is a 6 round series. Um, Only 5 events have been named so far. We got 6 hours of walk-ins, 6 hours of Spa, 6 hours of Bathurst, 6 hours of Valencia, 6 hours of Monza, and round 6 is yet to be announced. But they're averaging about one a month, so a little bit of time in between and a little bit of practice time. So, a couple of details going on is it is a minimum 3 driver per team, maximum 3 drivers. So if you don't have a team of 3, you're not racing. Um, let's see if I can find any details. There wasn't very many details posted, but there will be prizes for this race or for this event, this series. Some these prizes include a Moza um, s- wheel setup. I don't remember what it's called, but um,
R9?
the
R5?
mm, mm,
A Moza wheel setup.
yeah, it's just as a selection of Moza products.
Ah,
Uh, 2 drivers will get a Moza HBP handbrake and a viewer prize as well. One random streamer viewer will get a Moza shifter.
oh,
So,
nice.
yes, they are running 3 splits. So each race will have 3 splits, which means 3 um, three different races. Sorry, so not instead of what we do here is, the three classes. It'll be three separate races. The top class gets streamed, so it's going to be super intense. Everything's based off of the SGP rating. If you've been in an SGP race, you will have a certain rating, and they will go off of your team's average. So if you've got one person that has a rating and two people with a big fat zero, they will take the average of that, and that's where you get classed. So, like I said, we got four teams running it this weekend. Uh, I will go find those teams really quick, so we can wish everybody a big good luck, myself included. We got Team 1 running Coadromo, Selena Boonstra, Jess Osborne. In the Porsche, Team 2 in the Lambo, we got Martin Riggs, Dan Cran, Jack Polyak. Team 3 in the Lambo as well, we got Brandon Chan, Matt Morrison, Brian Anderson. And then Team 4 in the McLaren, Taylor Molyneux, Durbin Legacy, and myself. So, getting super ready for this one. Late notice, so we've been getting as much practice in as we can, and it's gonna be fun. So, go ahead. I think it's gonna be streamed on. I don't actually know who's streaming it, but
I'm sure there'll be
it
a
will.
few of our drivers sharing their own POVs as well.
Yep, for sure. But yeah, it's gonna be super fun. Uh, Hopefully, this one is what SRA tried to do in the Assetto Course Endurance Championship, but we'll see. So keep your eyes out for that. Wish everybody good luck and root them on, and hopefully we get some good results.
Heck yeah. Don't forget, Sunday. And you said that starts at what time?
Sunday at, I believe it's 9 a.m. Eastern time.
Awesome. So
So
get your popcorn and your coffee if you feel
yes,
like mixing the two. Maybe just a
nothing wrong with
coffee.
that. Maybe mostly just coffee,
Yeah,
ideally.
probably just a coffee for me.
Yeah, same.
But piggybacking off of that statement you made, ACC's AC's Endurance Championship is scheduled to return June 17th with the 2.4 hours of Le Mans. Little mini endurance that we're going to do, so a little longer than the typical races. We're going to
Yep.
have the LMP1, LMP2, and TA2 cars as well. As per the previous events, we're going to have a pre-quali session as usual, so we have all the drivers go in and set times beforehand, and there's
Hmm.
cutoff times for each class to make sure you're actually at a competitive pace. You got to do 10 laps of pre-quali before the event starts. Then there's going to be a 20-minute qualifying and our race. Full parade lap, manual rolling start like we normally do, and hopefully we're going to find a way to get this streamed. But again, as usual, there's going to be a lot of drivers sharing their POVs. So if that's something you want to get in on, make sure you've got the Assetto Corsa role in the Discord and head on over to the exhibition area and look for the AC event details section, and you'll find a registration link as well as the Nextcloud links to get your hands on all the mods, because I know that's pretty daunting when it comes to trying to jump in on AC stuff. Is like, oh, what mods do I need with this, with that, whatever, and like, am I gonna have the right one and stuff. So we've got it all sorted up there.
Yes, we do. And the past few events we've done, it's been super fun. I unfortunately will be at a wedding for this one. Super upset because this was the one I was looking forward to, and
Thumbs down.
big thumbs down.
Big
Very
thumbs down.
very sad. Super upset, but still will be fun to. I'm probably gonna still jump on and just practice and wish I was there.
Yeah, the practice
So
races are going to be fun on the way to on the way up to it.
yeah,
Probably some MX5s as usual. MX5s on Le Mans would be hilarious.
that would be wild.
Might as well just do go-karts.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I guess that brings us to the end of the SRA content. So now we can talk about F1. The
ooh,
boys.
fun,
F1.
fun.
So we didn't really talk about Monaco last week, but the race was actually kind of interesting with that spontaneous absolute downpour we got on, what was it, lap 57 or something like that?
48.
Close. I was off by
Yeah,
11.
48. Yeah, I only remember because I missed the first half of the race, and I tuned in to lap 45, and that's when they said out in turn, what was that, 5, 6? That's when it started raining over there, about lap
Gotcha.
48, and there everybody was debating, is it dry, is it wet, and Fernando pits for dries, and all of a sudden the next lap it's wet conditions. So
Fernando should have pitted for inters. He would have had the win.
he would have had that undercut, that early jump on him.
Yep. Considering Max ended up finishing a pit stop ahead, 20 seconds ahead.
Only due to the fact that Fernando had to pit
Again,
again
yeah,
immediately.
e-
Yeah,
exactly. But c'est la vie, I guess.
yeah, that's coming, dude. Fernando will get one this year.
I believe so. They're unless the Red Bull keeps pulling away, I think he's got a chance. But
Yeah.
we did get a small glimpse at the new Mercedes side pods. Those look really cool, and I mean, as much as you didn't get much performance use out of them in Monaco, the one thing I noticed is the drivers both seem to be fighting the car a lot less. They look
Mm-hmm.
to be more content behind the wheel, so that's a good sign. And in the early free practice sessions in Barcelona, like they're not the fastest, but the car definitely looks a lot happier. Like it's not
Yeah.
this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. It's just like okay, I gotta push a little more.
Yeah, and I think FP1 wasn't really a full push session for most people, as we see here that Max was 7/10 clear of Checo in P2.
Yep.
Um,
Well, a lot of the
so
drivers in the first session were running that test tire. They had
yeah,
the test compound out this weekend, which is like extra hard or like the
hmm
hardest compound.
it's like a C5.5 or a C6 maybe.
Yeah, even then, Max I think on that tire alone was like 8 tenths faster than the
Yeah,
next driver. So
yeah, the guy's unreal. But FP2 is a little closer, 0.17 seconds from Fernando. So I think that's kind of where FP2 is kind of where the weekend starts, about where everybody's kind of looking, sitting. Um, Talked about the Mercedes, and we see one of them in the top 10. Lewis was, I think, P11 or 12. So not sure if it's just they're trying to tune the car to get to the right spot, or it's just kind of where they're sitting. But they're not. That side pod is not looking too well for them quite yet. But
yeah, the one thing that's not helping them out that I think people are not giving enough credit to is the emergence of the Phoenix Alpine from the ashes of this team and all the like in team arguing and this person's gonna go and nothing's going right. That car seems to be getting very quick, very fast.
yeah, I mean they're sitting sneakily in the top 10, both of them.
And they
Uh,
were there the whole session.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean Esteban P3 and Pierre Gasly P5 and FP1, Esteban Ocon P5 and Pierre Gasly P10 and FP2. So they're while everything is crumbling for Mercedes and Red Bull pull away, Alpine is sneaking into the top 10. Ferrari dropping off a bit, and then you got Fernando, the Lone Star,
we can,
carrying.
I can hear the bells, Fernando.
There was a I don't know if you saw it, but I put it in the Ghost Rider chat. There was a
I didn't see it. I'm not in that scumland.
All right, well everybody, that's gonna be the end of the episode. I'm gonna kill Josh.
Hey, wait.
But it was like a track map, and then it had a comparison of like where it was like a Stroll versus Alonso comparison of where they're like more dominant. The
Yeah,
entire track
it's
was
just Alonso.
Alonso's line.
Yeah. Was that an
I was
actual
like,
graphic or a meme?
no, it was a graphic that
Oh
was
my
literally shown in
god.
FP2, and I
That's
was like, what
amazing.
was the point of this?
Just slam them.
I guess slam Stroll.
Daddy's cash.
Daddy's cash. When is enough gonna be enough? Like, the car's good, the driver's not.
He's not bad. He's not top talent. That's the difference. It's like Latifi's been sitting in a Mercedes. It's like okay, maybe not Latifi because Latifi was shit. It's like when Albon was in the Red Bull. He's not a bad driver. He's just not a top tier
Even
driver.
Gasly, even Gasly.
Gasly's working his way back up, and he had the super formula history before, so
Yeah.
it was kind of expected that he'd be better.
hmm
But like, he's just not a top tier driver.
Well, then there was
Send him
all
back to Williams, and he'll do fine. He'll probably do great. He'll probably outperform the car.
Yeah, P19.
No, P18.
Sorry, sorry.
They gotta pass one of those Alfa Romeos. Rest
Yeah,
in peace, man. I was really excited for them last season because I'm like, they're really stepping away from Sauber, and now they signed with Porsche, and the car
yep.
looks really good. And I've always
Hmm.
got a soft spot for Bottas because he wears my number. And now they're just,
Or do you wear his number?
I've been wearing it for longer than he's been driving in Formula.
But what if he had it before?
Well, I don't care. It's mine. It's
Wait, I
mine
thought you were 777.
by force, Russell Allen.
Just get him kicked.
No, I just told him
Okay.
politely if he ever decides to not drive or wants to change his number, I ask for a DM
Mm.
so I can swoop it.
Yeah,
But
dude,
yeah,
those Alfa Romeos came out hot last season.
yeah, and they stayed up there for most of the season too.
Yeah, yeah. Valtteri was really getting a lot out of that car, and then slowly just dwindled off a bit. Now they're sitting. It's either they have a tough race or they're fighting for points, but it's always I feel either end. So
Yeah, and Haas is hilariously sitting in third in FP2. I
yeah,
mean,
Nico.
they've got quality pace. The car does boogie pretty well, but their race
Hmm.
pace is not there. The car does not like a full fuel load.
No, it doesn't.
And I think
Neither do I though.
I don't think anybody does. Part of me wonders if that's Haas focusing the wrong direction. Like if they're focusing on lap time and not focusing on, you know, the 2 hours on
Longevity.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Why'd your voice drop like 2 octaves?
I don't know.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah. Haas, Nico. This is my sexy voice.
Have you ever driven a Ram 1500?
If you don't drive a Ram, then fuck you.
Man, you could have a career in commercials there, buddy. Just stand really close to the mic.
I could be like Will Arnett in the Reese's, you know? Thick, luxurious Reese's peanut butter chocolate.
Okay.
Does that turn you on?
No,
Oh,
not really.
okay. Maybe next week.
Probably not.
Okay.
But before, I guess Bailey's ready to go into that place, whatever it may be. Any thoughts towards the F1 weekend? Any hopes, aspirations, or things you might actually see other than a Red Bull 1-2?
Um, I think I don't know, dude. I think it's just going to be your typical race weekend. I mean, this track's gotten easier through the years with that final chicane being gone. Uh, I was watching the onboard of the Max lap, and he took the second to last corner flat, a slight lift in the last corner, but almost flat out. So they're doing what was it 113s already. So
13.9 from Max in
yeah,
FP2.
I think we'll be seeing some 12s there, and when we get to qualifying, so
12.9
it's
might
a
be possible.
yeah. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a Max dominant. He's always been dominant at Barcelona, so I don't expect much to be different. But I think I'm going to see another Alonso P2, P3, depending on how the Checo does.
Dues.
But
Yeah.
I think that's Checo's or not Checo. Alonso's spot is if it's not a 1-2 for Red Bull, it's Fernando's there for the sweep.
Yeah. I agree with you there.
Because I mean the Ferraris have fallen off. I felt slightly, and the Mercs are still not there. So he's kind of sitting in that empty gap
Yeah.
of you
Just
make a mistake, Max or Checo, it's mine.
just carrying the torch for Aston Martin, putting the whole factory on his back.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, if Red Bull didn't exist, he'd be leading the championship.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And by a good margin too. I think it
Yeah,
was like what is it, 15 points to Hamilton or something?
it might be more than that.
I saw a graphic on that earlier. It was the let's imagine Red Bull doesn't exist standings.
Let's look really quick. I think it's closer to like 30, maybe, because he's sitting at
119?
93, and then the next is close is 69.
Oh wow, that's a nice amount of points.
Quick math, quick math.
24.
24. Yes, sir. Yeah. Pretty good margin.
Yeah,
So, especially without winning a race, like making that up is going to be difficult for Lewis. So,
yeah, and I think Checo, more than wanting to fight for the championship, is worried about losing the second spot.
I mean, he's damn near 30 points behind Max. So,
Yeah, he's
it's 29
he's a
at the moment.
he's a win back.
Nope. I'm sorry. That's wildly incorrect. It's way more than that.
All right. Well,
It's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's hot out.
it has been hot out, man. We had
Oh
a
my
we had a
goodness.
heat warning for the last 2 days. It's been 35°C
Uh,
in southern Ontario. That's
what's
what's
that? Like
going on.
90,
That's
95?
that's Barcelona right now.
I'm not good at the Celsius to Fahrenheit.
95. Good guess.
Maybe I am.
What the fuck was that? Please do.
Dab. They call me the Dab King.
Oh my lord. Where's your dab pen, Mr. Dab King? Who looks for it? Fucking Christ. He's on the carts and the prime.
I'm just kidding. This is an ear cleaner.
Okay, good. Thank the Lord.
I'm all out of my dab pen.
Oh
I don't
man.
do weed.
I don't do weed, I do dope.
I'm getting a call from Rockford.
I'm high on sim racing, I don't do drugs.
I'm high on farm sim.
Uh,
I'm a farm sim.
he's a farm sim, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. So, from myself, from Bailey, and from everybody who's been kind enough to fill out that podcast forum, thank you for the feedback. We take it kindly, and Bailey doesn't cry in the
Absolutely.
shower about it.
Well, not every day anymore.
Exactly, not every day.
Yeah.
He learns
Yeah.
that some bad comments are constructive criticism.
Sometimes. Sometimes it goes straight to the heart.
So, from
But we also
myself,
we appreciate those that listen too. So
exactly. We do appreciate each and every one of you. All 100 to 200 of you that show up, even if it was 5 of you, we'd still be cheering you on. Because without the viewers, there's no point in doing this. So,
exactly.
hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
From myself, from Bailey. We'll see you after Monza, folks.
Love you. Bye.